Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Startling surge.
The next couple of weeks are going to be critical.
The nation's top infectious disease experts sounding the alarm over a spike in coronavirus cases, where daily records are being shattered, as well as a look at where we stand here at home. But first, Michigan lawmakers are meeting with the Unemployment Insurance Agency director as unemployment claims remain unfulfilled. And that tops our news here at noon. Let's get right out to our Hank Winchester. I know you're working on this problem. What have you found out, Hank?
Karen, good afternoon to you. As you know, it has been a huge problem in the state of Michigan. More than 1.5 million Michiganders trying to get benefits, but unfortunately, there are still many people that are struggling to get the benefits that are owed to them. Take a look at some video. I'll talk you through the process. This morning, today, we are hearing from the director of the Unemployment Insurance Agency, Steve Gray. He is explaining not only the problems that people have been facing, we all know the technology issues, identity theft, but also what is being done right now to get benefits to those who are still trying to get their payments, the money that is owed to them. Gray started with an apology this morning. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say.
While there's only a small percentage of eligible folks who have yet to receive benefits, the monumental amount of claims because of this crisis means that there are still tens of thousands of real Michiganders that are frustrated, desperate, and owe the benefits they were promised. These are the people that I have dedicated my career to, and why we will fight past any obstacle we face. We will not rest until all eligible Michigan workers get every single dollar they are entitled to.
Back out here live, frustrated is an understatement. There are many people who are downright angry, and angry also that many of the Unemployment Insurance Agency offices remain closed. Now, they've said that they are working to come up with a plan to open up the doors to be able to have contact with people face to face, help resolve those issues. But as of right now, they've not scheduled a date for when we could see those offices reopening. Karen, we're live here this noon. Back to you.
All right. We know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you, Hank. Also making news this noon, Governor Whitmer is asking a higher court to stop a ruling that allows gyms to reopen. Meantime, gyms across Metro Detroit, including the Powerhouse Gym on Grand River, are preparing for tomorrow's reopening. Owners are facing a tough dilemma, though. Either follow the law or risk losing customers to other gyms.
I don't want to break any rules or laws, yet I do have to pay bills. A lot of my customers are driving to other locations to work out, which hurts the ones who follow the rules and the laws. So that puts me at a disadvantage because I'm trying to do right, but yet there's other gyms for them to go to. So now that puts us in a bad spot.
Yeah, it sure does. Lots of pieces to this puzzle. Make sure to stay tuned to later editions of Local 4. We'll have more on the preparations gym owners are making before tomorrow's reopening. We are also closely monitoring the coronavirus case count here at home. As of our last update on Tuesday afternoon, there were 11 confirmed deaths from COVID-19. In total, we've lost more than 5,800 lives to the virus here in the state. Michigan has more than 61,000 confirmed cases, and that's up 221 cases in the past day. As of Saturday afternoon, the official recovery total was 49,290. Now let's talk about the national front. There is renewed concern as coronavirus cases continue to spike in several states. In total, more than 121,000 Americans have died from the illness. There are more than 2,300,000 confirmed cases in the United States, and that's according to the Johns Hopkins University database. As Carrie Sanders reports, the virus does not appear to be slowing down.
It has been nearly 2 months since several states started reopening. Now there are growing concerns that some may have moved too fast, too soon. With summer in full swing, coronavirus hotspots have migrated from the Northeast to states across the South and West, including Florida, where there's also been a major shift in who's contracting COVID-19.
Half of these positive tests are in that 34 and under age group, and the bulk of the tests that we're seeing are really the 25 to 34-year-olds.
Texas, one of the first states to reopen, just recorded its highest daily increase, nearly 5,500 new cases. Governor Greg Abbott saying the spread is so rampant, the safest place is at home. Arizona and California also marking record single-day increases. Nurses on the front line say the road to recovery can be taxing.
These hospitalizations last longer, on average, like a week at least, 2 weeks, maybe more. And that's a really long time for a patient to be isolated.
The recent spikes also raising concerns about hospital capacity. Arizona says 84% of its ICU beds are currently occupied. Part of the problem, a false sense among some young people that the virus won't seriously affect them. In some cases, it can be deadly, recently claiming the life of a 17-year-old high school student in the Fort Myers area. Despite the warnings, not everyone is taking precautions.
You are how old?
I'm 45.
And?
35.
And both of you fall into that group where increasingly folks are showing up with coronavirus. But the idea of wearing a mask?
I'm very comfortable to not wear a mask in public in certain situations.
I'm not wearing a mask unless it is mandatory.
While others say it's about keeping everyone safe.
Wear the face cover, then you're not infecting anybody and you're taking care of your neighbor.
New rules here in Clearwater Beach and Pinellas County will go into effect just before sunset today, requiring folks to wear masks, but only when they're indoors in businesses. In other parts of the state, notably Miami, folks now have to wear masks when they're outdoors. It's a confusing patchwork as Florida rapidly becomes the new epicenter. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Clearwater Beach, Florida.
All right, thank you, Carrie. The surge in COVID cases is having an economic impact today. We're following the stock market. A live look at the Dow Jones Industrial Averages show the Dow now down 712 points, with analysts saying the surge in virus cases could hurt economic recovery. We obviously have been hearing that for months. New at noon, former Macomb County Clerk Karen Spranger says she wants to go to trial. Spranger is accused of stealing more than $1,500 from an elderly woman while acting as her caretaker. It was back in 2018 she was removed as clerk when a judge determined last year she lied about her residency on election documents. Spranger will be back in court on August 11th for jury selection, and Local 4 will be there as well. Got breaking news. Federal appeals court hands a major victory to President Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. The appeals court has ordered the judge in the case to dismiss that case against Flynn. Flynn twice pled guilty to lying to the FBI about his conversations with the then Russian ambassador during special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. Attorney General William Barr moved last month to dismiss the case against Flynn. Well, Judge Sullivan did not immediately act, instead asking for a review of the decision. Well, today, the appeals court ordered him to dismiss the case. And this comes as lawmakers investigate the politicization of the Department of Justice under Attorney General William Barr. Let's take a live look at Capitol Hill, where the House Judiciary Committee is holding a hearing. The former prosecutor in the case against Trump ally Roger Stone, a man by the name of Aaron Zelensky, is expected to testify that Stone was treated differently due to his close relationship with President Trump. Zelensky will tell Congress the highest levels of the Justice Department politicized Stone's sentencing by pressuring the acting D.C. U.S. attorney to water down the sentencing. Stone was convicted of obstruction, making false statements, and witness tampering in connection to the Russia investigation. Also making headlines at this hour, firefighters battle 2 house fires on the city's west side. This happened on Parkdale Terrace in the area of Warren and McGraw. You can see the home on the right burning as firefighters also worked at the home next door, trying to put out a fire there. We saw one firefighter being helped away from the scene with an injury. We're working on exactly trying to find out how that fire started. All right, let's take a quick look at our forecast with Brandon as we take a live look outside through our sky cam. Pretty cloudy day here in downtown Detroit. How are things over in Grosse Pointe, Brandon?
Well, only a handful of miles north of you and a little bit of cloud cover, but I see plenty of blue sky around me as well. And most of these clouds harmless as far as wet weather. We have 71 degrees at Metro, 71 Ann Arbor, and Adrian, 69 in Pontiac. Notice the winds out of the west, 10 to 15, gusting at times 15 to 20 or 25. So bit of a breezy day once again, and it will be a mix of sun and clouds and enough sun through the afternoon, or, you know, periods of sunlight that will allow us to get to about 77 without much humidity. Could see an isolated shower north, but the wet weather we see coming off of the big lakes north and west of us not having a direct impact on most of Metro Detroit, so we stay mostly dry. The jet stream has been in a good spot if you like the more comfy weather, but later this week into the weekend, we do see the heat and humidity returning as the jet stream heads back north, and we will talk coming up about the return of the heat and humidity and weekend wet weather chances, Karen.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Still to come this noon, experts are cautiously optimistic a COVID-19 vaccine could be ready before 2021. And one American company is entering the final phase of its testing not far from Metro Detroit. After the break, we are going to take a look inside that laboratory.